Hello again. Welcome to Hunter Douglas or Luxaflex product training by video conferencing. This is a session we're going to talk about and cover off our aluminium shutter product range. Before we kick off, just a quick reminder that the aluminium shutters do actually come from the same supplier as our timber shutters. So they are a product custom made in China, and the delivery time is approximately 12 weeks. So same lead time that you know and have with our timber shutters, but obviously keep in mind our polysatin product being locally manufactured in Queensland obviously has a much quicker turnaround time and lead time. Now, aluminium shutters are primarily designed for external applications. They add a bit of a security and a more of a secure component to shutters, but we are seeing them more and more used internally, and the market trend is sort of shifting that way. People want that powder coat option and those color options. We can do that with the aluminium shutters. Great story with our aluminium shutters. They're made from a 6063 TS grade aluminium. The shutter panel is fixed together with stainless steel screws. All the supporting accessories are also made from stainless steel to ensure that they are robust and really suitable in external environments. The aluminium extrusion in the louvers, the frames, are all 1.4 millimetre thick. Now that 1.4 millimetre wall thickness provides a lot of stability and security and structural integrity into the actual aluminium shutters. It's one of the thickest aluminium shutter profiles on the market. So worth pointing that out to your customers. There's a lot of aluminium shutters out there that are less than 1 millimetre thick. All of our frames are reinforced by angles, countersunk screws, and obviously engineered to look the part. All of the profiles are pre-treated chemically to ensure the maximum coating adhesive and increased resistance against corrosion, because as I said again, predominantly these will find themselves in external applications. The components are then electrostatically powder coated and then they're oven cured for the best possible finish. Now we've got a few color options, and in your swatch that you get, the aluminium shutter swatch comes in a nice kit, a zipper bag, and you get samples of all the available coloured louvers. So there are 4 standard powder coat finishes in white, pearl, silver and black. And then we have 2 timber wraps just to finish off the range of aluminium shutters, so we can get that look of the traditional timber shutter but with the durability of aluminium. And sometimes that's what people are looking for in an external application. Obviously, our cap colours will coordinate with the colour of the blade, keeping in mind, though, with walnut and golden oak, the end caps will just be solid coloured. They won't have the wrap around the end cap. But on that, our end caps are also a metal casting. Not a plastic end cap, and again, one of the things you'll see on a lot of aluminium shutters out there in the market is they won't just have thinner aluminium, but they'll just have plastic end caps on the end of the louvers. They don't sit in properly, they tend to lift, they can crack. These obviously metal die cast ones that again are powder coated obviously are a lot more stable and secure. Now on top of the standard colours, you can get a custom colour finish. It can be ordered, there is a surcharge. And obviously, if you want us to match, we can match a powder coat colour as well. There's 3 different blade sizes. Again, in the little ring there holding the colours, you'll see the 3 different louver sizes. So you have obviously a 64mm, an 89mm, and the 114mm blade. Pretty standard across the industry. Being 1.4mm thick and having a lot of structural integrity, as I said, in a fixed or in a sliding scenario, we can do aluminium shutter panels up to 1500mm in width, which is quite big, obviously, as you could imagine. When we're hinging, our maximum panel width is 870. When we're doing doubled hinge, so one panel hinged off another, maximum panel width is 600. And when we're doing bifold, our maximum panel width is 700. It's a heavier product than the polysatin, but obviously, as I said, very structurally sound and very, very strong. There are obviously some maximum height and minimum height limitations as well, but we can go to 2 meters now in height in a panel before we need to add a mid-rail. And then when you go over the 3 meter mark, you need to have the second mid-rail added. So our maximum height for aluminium shutters is 3.6 metres, so it's quite big. And the maximum width, as I said, 1500 in a fixed or in a sliding scenario. The blade end caps, I mentioned that. It's that robust aluminium casted end cap, so it really provides the quality finish. Like all shutters, you have hinged options with no frame. You can do a hinged option with an L or a Z frame. We'll have a closer look at the frame shortly. You can do a fixed in a channel, which is something we haven't had on offer with our other shutter products, but being an external product more than internal, if you want to screen in an area, you have the ability to just pop some panels into fixed channels. And obviously our bifold and sliding as well. Before we get to the frames, I want to talk about a couple of locking options because, as I said, this becomes more of a security product. So you would like the option to be able to lock things in place so that you can have some security. There's 3 locking options, and the first of which is on our panel. I'll just get Trevor to zoom in, is our flush bolt. Now, a flush bolt, you see it on a lot of commercial applications indoors, but this is a recessed mounted flush bolt locking system which lives in the, obviously, the upright style of the shutter, and just by a simple flick down, it pushes down a plunger pin. In this case, it locks it into our L frame that we've got. So if you wanted to use a product like this on external applications, we've got the L frame fitted here. I've got the flush bolt. From the outside, they can't unlock that flush bolt. Blade stay. This is something quite unique in the market. I've not seen it on other shutters. I'm not saying we're the only ones that has this item, but I've not seen it on other shutters. So what we have is we have blade stay or blade lock. So here we have a panel. We've got 89mm black louvers, and you'll see a little spring-loaded button here. If I release that and let that go in, it will actually lock in to some pre-drilled positions that are set into that frame. Now that locks in position. So again, having blade stay on the inside of your shutters gives you some security as far as not being able to open those blades. It's also great in high wind areas as well because you can get the blades or the louvers to be in a fixed position, have the airflow coming through, but obviously not having them opening or closing. If I go back to that position, I can pretty well lock it off in a fully closed position as well. So obviously from the other side of that shutter, can't actually unlock that. So if I've got some security bolts like the flush bolt or a locking handle, which we'll look at shortly, and I've got blade stay, I can make that lockable from the inside so they can't be opened from the outside. So blade stay. Now there's a couple of things you need to remember with blade stay. Blade stay needs to be costed into each bank of louvers. What we've got there is a panel. It is only about 1500 high, and I don't actually need to have a divider rail, but I have. So if I wanted blade stay top and bottom, I've got to put that surcharge in twice. There's also a maximum span of louvers that one blade stay can operate. In the case of the 64mm louver, the maximum height is 1 metre per blade stay. For the 89 and the 114, it's 1200 high. So 64mm, I've got blade stay that'll lock 1 metre of louvers. If I've got a panel bigger than that, I'm going to need 2 blade stays. The other option we have available to you with the Aluminium Shutter program is our lockable handle. Now this is great obviously because it's key lockable. It's a reputable brand. It's a Whitco lock. So it's a good lockable security door lock. Now when you order this handle, particularly with your 89 and 114mm blade, just be conscious the position of this handle has to be adjacent to a divider rail because when you operate the louvers, they need to clear the handle. So the handle and the blade operation need to work in sync with each other. Tilt rod. As standard on the aluminium shutters is the clear view tilt rod. So again, clear view looking at the front of the panel. You don't really see any visible tilt rod. It's at the back and connected to each of the louvers. And it protrudes approximately 3 millimeters out from the back of the blade. Divider rail, as I mentioned, you can go to 2 meter in height. Without that divider rail, anything above 2 meters, you need to specify the mid rail. And the mid rail height, like all of our shutter products, is specified from the bottom up to the center point that you want that mid rail to be. But keep in mind that the mid rail may end up being up to half a blade size away from the specified height, depending on how we have to configure the height panel that you've ordered and the number of louvers. Frames. As you would know, our other shutter products, timber and polysatin, there's some standard frames that enable it to be fitted in certain applications. We have an L frame, and we have a Z frame. So the L frame is very similar to the shape, I guess, you see in a timber shutter or a polysatin shutter, and it's an L frame. It's designed for face fit applications. Again, you can fit it in a reveal and obviously refill or cork the gaps. But if your opening is more than probably 10 mil diagonally out a square, using an L frame in reveal will be problematic. L frame really is designed for that face fit application. But while I'm talking about that, I just talk, the shutter that we've got fitted on the back display wall behind me here is an L frame. Now, we've got louvers here, which would not clear just by using that standard L frame. So we've needed to pack that L frame out. We're going to get to this little bit in a minute, but this is our bottom channel profile, which can be called up and used, pack out our L frame to give us more clearance. Our Z frame. One of the great things with the aluminium shutter product is that they offer a flush mount Z frame. So it really pulls the frame back into the reveal and almost gives a flat, flush, seamless look across the front. Obviously, you need to be conscious that you have enough clearance depth for the louvers to operate, but flush mount Z frame, again, something unique. We do have the standard Z frame that's there as well, and remember, this is designed to cover those out of square gaps, so it's designed for reveal fit scenarios. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, one of the things we can do with the aluminium shutter product is we can offer you the ability to put it in just a top and a bottom channel, so you can have fixed panels of shutters in an external screening environment or any application. So you have a top channel and a bottom channel. The reason the top channel is deeper is that you'd come along with your panel, slide it up, and then let it drop down into the bottom channel, drill a few holes, hold it in place with some color coordinated rivets, and you can do fixed panels of shutters in a bank, one after the other. You can also interlock them with a H section. So the H section can interlock one louver, one panel, into another panel. So then, great little things that we haven't had previously with shutters. Now you can call up angle. There's a 25 by 25 millimeter angle. There's also a 25 by 50 millimeter angle if you need some angle to fill a gap or to do other things to get something nice and straight, because obviously the shutter panels are going to be made perfectly square and need to sit within a perfectly square opening. Obviously with bifolds and with sliders, we have a top and bottom track, and it's right here. So quite a substantial and quite a heavy track system because the product is heavier. Now, the thing when you do bifold and when you do sliding shutters with the aluminium shutter program is that there is no headboard and there is no side frame. You get a headboard and a side frame with our polysatin and with our timber, but this product obviously is designed to be fitted to some structure or beams or opening that is already there. So you have your top track, obviously the wheel assembly is quite a heavy duty wheel assembly. Now the wheels are actually curved and they run in 2 tracks. So it's a very smooth, stable system to support obviously the weight of the aluminium shutters. Now what we do with fascia for our bifold and for our sliding shutters is we just have a 25 by 50 millimeter piece of angle which would sit above the track and come down just to cover that gap that we have where we see the wheel carrier supporting the panel. So it's a very simple 25 by 50 millimeter L angle which acts as our fascia. Measuring, like all of our shutters, opening size, no deductions. We always say measure the width in 3 points, top, center, bottom. Measure the height, 3 points, left, center, right. Give us the smallest measurement. If you've got windows near each other, certainly in the same room, certainly side by side, keep the height measurement to us the same. If it varies by a few millimeters, give us the smaller opening size. We would not want to have 2 panels next to each other, one that might have 15 louvers and the one next to it 16 louvers. So we need to get them ordered at the same height to get that alignment and the same number of louvers. Again, measuring on face, measure outside of edge to outside of edge, architrave. We don't make any deductions for outside mount. So if you tell us it's 2 meters from the edge of that architrave to the edge of the other architrave, overall size of the shutter will be 2 meters. And we'll make small 2 to 3 millimeter deductions for reveal scenario to enable you to fit it in and then fill the frame around it. Panel configuration, you can order a single panel. Left-hand hinged panel is just a left -1. If you want what we've got behind me here, which is a 2 panel in a frame with a demold on the right panel, it's an L-DR-2. Now, demold. We talk demold when we talk our timber shutters as well. The demold is the cover which covers another panel. So when these panels close, they're flush on the edge and you would have a vertical light gap. So we put a demold on one of the panels so that when they close, essentially one panel overlaps the other. You can tell us what side you want that demold to be on because it will be the first panel you have to open when you want to open those shutters. So as I said, in this scenario here, we have L-DR. So the D is on the right panel, so it comes after the dash. If I wanted the demold on the left, I would order an LD-R, again, -2, just to denote the number of panels. T-post is another option, the same as it is with other shutter products. If I wanted to have a T-post here, I could have an LTR. So left panel hinge to the left, T-post in the middle, right panel hinge to the right, -2 because it denotes 2 panels. I wanted to do 2 bifolds to the left and 2 to the right and have a T-post in the middle, I would have LLTRR. So the concept of what we do is quite similar to other shutters, but we do want you to just confirm the number of panels when you give us the configuration as well. Another great thing we can do with the aluminium shutter product is we can make fixed panels that are angled at the top. So if you've got an outdoor area that tapers up or tapers down and you want to put a bank of louvers that's fixed, you can measure all that and we can make the panels fixed. I mean, the blades will open, but they're in a fixed position in a channel and they can have a sloping top. A lot of information, excuse me, in SkillTech about installation of shutters, but there's a lot of things that are very similar to what we do. And as a general rule, it would be fair to say that aluminium shutters has a lot of common installation steps in line with polysatin shutters. What I want to do is talk through what we've done here. So as I mentioned, we've got an L frame on face. We've ordered our bottom channel as a extension because we want to build it out. Where's my L-frame? There it is there. So we've got that scenario there where we've built the L-frame out. These come beautifully mitered with very, very strong corner pieces with 8 stainless steel countersunk set screws to hold each corner together. It's a very stable product. When you order the bottom channel as your packer, it'll also be mitered and it'll be exactly the same dimensions as the outside of that frame. So you don't have to cut anything when you're on site. You're drilling through, putting your screw through. Again, we don't provide the fixings for fitting the shutter to the wall, to the window, to whatever structure is there. The fittings to hold the shutter together we supply, but the fixings to fit it obviously are not supplied. We always say, at every point where we have a hinge, we want to have a fixing point. You'll see the hinges are set between 450 and 500 apart. So we make sure you've got a fixing point at each hinge point. So these are not 2-part simple release hinges. They are a much stronger hinge that relies on you removing the hinge pin to take it apart. So it's a very, very strong, secure hinge, which needs to be to support obviously the weight of the aluminium shutter. So as I said, we're using stainless steel countersink screws in this case. Presumably we've fitted this in an external application. So drilling through with the pilot hole, countersinking here as well to make sure that it's flush and that panel will close. Aluminium shutters are a fantastic product for obviously airflow, light control, but we never promote them as being a light blockout product. And across the shutter range, they probably block out 80 to 85% of the light, but you'll always get some light penetrating down between each of the louvers. So whether it's the bottom section here or the top section, you'll always get light coming through. Our aluminium shutters are actually covered by a 10-year structural warranty and 5 years on the finish. Now, obviously there's always things that aren't covered by warranty. Obviously, normal wear and tear, abuse of the product, altering the product, accidents, misuse. You will get some discoloration over time in any product, and a powder-coated product that's obviously in an external application will be subject to that as well. You do need to clean and maintain it. We recommend a non-abrasive cloth or sponge, some warm soapy water, hose it off. Really simple procedure to keep this product clean and looking good. We'd then recommend that where you've got obviously stainless steel and hardware and bits and pieces, maybe wash those areas a little bit more thoroughly than you would do the louvers, just to remove any salt residue, tannin stains caused by trees or any other dirt or sort of marks. Recommended also is that you spray a bit of light film or silicone lubricant on any of the operational hardware. So the hinges, the locks, any part that moves, that little bit of silicone spray just helps, not just in the look, but in the operation of the product as well, and keeps it looking good for many, many, many years to come. But we'd recommend as a general rule, you'd want to wash down the shutters at least every 6 months. But if you lived directly beachfront, say within 1 kilometre from the ocean, we'd recommend every month that they should be washed down. If you're between 5 and 10 kilometres away, you'd probably do it every 3 months. But certainly every 6 months for an external product, give it a quick wash down. It's a very easy thing to do. That covers the aluminium shutter product range, going through all the features and benefits and the applications where you sell it. It really does complement the shutters that we have in our product range now. Our polysatin product can certainly be used externally, but this with all the locking options gives you something that's a little bit more suitable for those that are looking at a bit more security product. It can't be used to replace balustrading around a balcony or anything like that. It's not something that you would recommend other than doing screening from sun protection, but it can be used on verandas and things quite openly. All right, guys, that's the end of the session. I look forward to seeing you next time round. Cheers.